Namaste everyone. So today we are going to talk about upcoming new moon, which is very special. Why it is special? Because upcoming new moon is going to also correspond to a partial solar eclipse. Okay? Because the new moon is going to happen very close to Rahu. So Rahu is at the moment in Pushya nakshatra, while new moon is going to happen in Punarvasu nakshatra. So first of all, let us talk about what new moon at all in nakshatra of Punarvasu is bringing us. What sort of qualities are happening? What sort of, energy is culminating during this time of the month? So as you may remember, during full moon we experience the peak of energy of certain nakshatra, while during new moon we actually experience the energy of that nakshatra being in a way at its lowest. And new moon in Punarvasu nakshatra is really special because Punarvasu nakshatra itself, sun is actually changing its course there. Like originally, astrologically we are saying that Dakshinayana actually starts in Punarvasu nakshatra. So what is Dakshinayana? It's when sun reached the fullness of its energy, the peak of its energy, and now it's changing. It's changing its course. It starts to go southwards and its light is diminishing little by little every single day. And there is also one, very strong significance here because Gemini is the Aries sign, right? So 3 padas of Punarvasu nakshatra are in the sign of Gemini, very Aries sign, and air naturally fuels the fire of the sun. While last pada of Punarvasu nakshatra is in the sign of Cancer, in the watery sign. This is why also in the Vedas you can see that it is written that the basis above of Punarvasu nakshatra is the wind, while the basis below is the water. So there is like significant change happening here. This is why Punarvasu nakshatra is very innovative. Many new ideas may come to our mind, because whenever sun specifically is, crossing that exact point between Gemini and Cancer, there is a huge change happening. Something is transforming greatly, something very new is coming through. This is why it's also called Punarvasu, the return of light, the return of inspiration, the return of wealth also. And it's very interesting because, this basis above is the wind here, and the basis below is the moisture. And actually, even if you go to I Ching, in this tradition, the Chinese tradition there, you also have, this sort of thing with basis above and basis below. And for them, the exact symbol, which stands for basis above as the wind and basis below as the water, is actually symbolizing reunion, So some things are going to get reunited. Some things again from the past are going to awaken. Similarly, like during the full moon, during Mula nakshatra. So some things from the past are returning. The return of light is happening. So during this exact new moon, sun and the moon are going to get conjunct in Gemini part of Punarvasu nakshatra. And this is why actually during this exact time we might actually get lots of new inspiration. Our intuition may also become much stronger during this time period, specifically for Punarvasu natives, for people who actually have their moon in Punarvasu nakshatra. They might be able to see some things which they have not seen before. But because you see Rahu is quite close, to that nakshatra, he's in Pushya, and he's causing, this partial solar eclipse to happen at the same time, they might also experience, some sort of confusion or disturbance, something about like they will feel inside that it's time for them to change their path, to change their course, like the sun needs to change its course in Punarvasu nakshatra, but they're not quite ready yet to take this step, So one thing that is definitely very important for all of us during this exact period, of new moon in Punarvasu nakshatra is not to take any impulsive decisions in the first place. So Punarvasu nakshatra, is this constellation, this lunar mansion, which has lots of youthful energy, optimism, faith, this innovating energy, this creative spark is there, This is why Punarvasu natives, very often they have many ideas, many brilliant, innovative ideas. They love to start things, to rekindle things again, or to take some ideas from the past and make them happen. But they are very often a little bit too impulsive in making their decisions, and even though they are good in starting things, they might be not that good in actually sustaining them. And which is why exactly now, when new moon is dwelling in Punarvasu nakshatra, for all of us it's really so important not to take any impulsive decisions. Even if you have some brilliant idea now, some innovative idea about your work, or you would like some significant change in your life, it's good time to plan for it, to introspect yourself, to see what potentially, can awaken, can grow from that idea, let's put it like that, to give this idea a space. But it's also very important to give yourself some time. Do not take this decision impulsively, because if you take this decision impulsively, you see Punarvasu nakshatra is like it lights up easily, but it also burns down easily with all its ideas. So similarly now, be open and stay open for all the ideas that are appearing in your mind of what you can potentially change in your life, but don't rush into that, Take some time to actually introspect yourself. This is really important during this transit, and if you will take any impulsive decisions, you will actually lose. You will really lose, because Rahu is also associated here, and he's also this impulsive sort of influence which wants things to happen right here, right now. And this is not going to help at the moment. So you see, the best thing really during this new moon time period is simply, to cool down your mind, spend some time in meditation, and just observe the ideas which are coming. And if you really need to make some important decision during this time period because life is forcing you to make one, at least, try to see beyond the present moment. See the long-term results of you taking that decision, That is going to be really, really important during this exact transit, not to rush into things and to really see long-term, not to become hyper-optimistic about everything, and to simply be able to see the reality the way it is. This new moon is also very special because it's aspected by Saturn retrograde in Mula nakshatra. So obviously it will also inspire us, to see, the roots of our life. This is why, again, this interesting connection of Saturn being in Mula nakshatra, who inspires us to see the root causes of everything in our life, the things which may potentially get unrooted, while Punarvasu nakshatra and new moon happening there gives us, the space to actually develop new ideas, to open up for new ideas, because it's not about only unrooting something in your life, right? It's actually about making space for something. This is why the goddess of Punarvasu nakshatra is Aditi. She is the goddess of ether, the goddess of space. And similarly, we need to be able to, welcome these new influences into our life, to open up for new influences, but again, without rushing into that. More with this motherly energy, motherly creativity, which is also very patient at the same time and very humble too. We also cannot forget that Punarvasu nakshatra is actually the star of all the patterns, all the things which are repetitive in life, all the mistakes that we repeat, all the behaviors that we are repeating. And partial solar eclipse happening there will kind of try to inspire us to look into those things. Especially, because it's actually aspected by Saturn in Mula. So it tries to actually really give us the feeling of what sort of things we kind of tend to repeat all the time in life, which are not constructive for us anymore, which we actually need to let go of, finally. And this is something, that's kind of challenging with Punarvasu nakshatra, because Punarvasu nakshatra really loves its comfort zone. Specifically when new moon is happening there, we really have, a little bit bigger need to actually stay in our comfort zone. But at the same time, it's actually forcing us to go out of it, to go out of our comfort zone, to go beyond that, to open up for something new. Which is why you might see many omens, like many animals visiting you exactly during this time period, who will actually give you or deliver you this exact message, that it's time for you to move beyond your comfort zone, to jump beyond your comfort zone, For me it was specifically very interesting because literally just, in last week, I've got several messages from completely different, not connected people with each other, who received this special omen that actually a bat visited their house, And actually we had exactly the same story. Also, bat visited our house literally a day before we went to the ashram of our Gurudev. And it's a very specific thing, because bat is the symbol of transformation, very intense transformation, journey into the spirituality, you know, journey beyond what we are able to see with our physical eyes. That's actually what all Jupiter nakshatras are kind of trying to teach us, to be able to see beyond what we are seeing with physical eyes, right? So that's a very, very interesting thing, an interesting topic for now for all of us, to be able to see beyond again the present moment, beyond what you can see right now, and to really just listen to your intuition. But in order for you to even listen to your intuition in the first place, obviously you need to cool down your mind, which is why it's a very beneficial thing to actually meditate, during solar eclipse as well. Even though solar eclipse is not going to be visible almost in any part of the world, you know, but still it is going to affect us on some deeper level, which is why, you know, because solar eclipses has so strong energy, it is said that we should never go out of the house exactly when eclipse is happening. We should not eat actually, we should fast too, because the food tends to get this exaggerating energy of Rahu as well during this time period. So it's a very good time all in all for introspection and for actually seeing, going deeper within yourself and understanding which sort of patterns in your life you need to let go of in order to change the course in your life, in order to take some new path, to open for new horizons, to give more space in your life. So all in all, just take it easy during this solar eclipse. You know, open up for new ideas, but don't rush into making new decisions. Simply observe, you know, that's really the best thing for the current transit that I can tell you. Just observe what is happening. So that was just my very short video about this upcoming new moon and partial solar eclipse. And actually, if you would like to learn more about eclipses and why they were considered the way they were considered in the past, like inauspicious, all sorts of things like that, you can actually go on the link below on my Patreon community, and there are 2 posts there where you have 2 chapters from Brahma Vaivarta Purana, where Lord Shri Krishna himself is telling about the significance of solar eclipse and significance of lunar eclipse as well. So that's something very, very interesting to actually study and see how it was actually perceived in the past. So that was just a little bit from me. Thank you so much for your attention and see you next time. Namaste.